Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Ellie Stein, your traveling shrink. I'm here on the shore of the Manicouagan Lake on the Trans-Labrador Highway in Quebec. I'm not yet in Labrador, but I'm on my way. It's very exciting. Yes, there are some little biting flies. I am noticing them. I want to talk today about, sorry, they get into your throat, about the aphorism that I don't quite like about life, but it continues to be true, which is plus ça change. Everything changes. So I'm just going to give you a personal example of what's happened in the last 24 hours. So yesterday I had a spectacular morning. I was not yet on the Trans-Labrador. I had this fascinating conversation en français with this very interesting creative man who described kind of the surrounds that I was looking at, his house, and he's lived there for 50 years and so on and so forth. Even threw a little bit of politics in just for fun. And then I got a bit of a later start onto the Trans-Labrador Highway in the afternoon. And I turned off all my podcasts and media because I just was loving being in the moment and the beauty. Now at about 4:35 p.m., I pull up to Manic 5. Manic 5 is one of the huge dams on the Manicouagan River, which is the whole reason for the Trans-Labrador Highway to exist. It's part of the Churchill Falls hydroelectric project, which Quebec built, like 60, 70 years ago to supply power to the province of Quebec. And I think to myself, do I want to do a tour of this or not? I'm like, you know what? It's late in the day. Probably I would have to stay over till tomorrow. This hydroelectric scenario parking lot probably isn't my favorite place to stay for the night. A lot of high voltage power lines running around. So I decide to go about 100 k's up the road, up meaning north, because I have this idea it's going to be nicer there. Well, it was a gravel road. It was straight. It wasn't nearly as scenic. And when I get to my destination, it's basically a truck stop that I'm not even sure it's open. I can't get access to the toilets. Nobody's very helpful or friendly. I'm like, oh well. So anyway, I hunker down for the night. No problem. But as soon as I get into my van and I turn on my iOverlander app, which is where to find good places to camp, I remember that it works even without a cell signal. It works on GPS. I'm like, oh, right. So I look up the area, and sure enough, there are some much better options not that far from me. But by now it's like 7:30 p.m. Driving in Labrador in the evening isn't that recommended due to animals and fading sun, etc. So I think, okay, I'll make the best of it for tonight. But I go to bed a bit dissatisfied that I didn't make the best choices today. I wake up in the morning after a really good sleep. I remember that I have an outdoor shower in my van, and this will increase my state of mind. So I take a shower, feel way better, have something to eat, feel way better. Drive 20 k's up the road to one of these places that iOverlander recommends as quite a nice, quiet, tranquil place. And sure enough, oh my goodness. I'm just going to turn a little bit so you can see that it is spectacularly gorgeous. I'm at the Manicouagan Lake, and it's this round formation, like maybe there was some kind of asteroid event here way back in the day, hard to say. But right now, I'm at this place called Station Wechican, probably murdering the name, so apologies to the indigenous people who are running and building this amazing, beautiful, pristine, solar-powered place for people to stay. And I wander down to the lake, and all I can hear is the lapping of the waves. My mood shifts, my nervous system regulates, and I'm like, plus ça change, right? If you're having a bad day, it will change. If you're having a good day, it will change. And part of my very conscious motivation for travel is to learn to get better at living in the present moment and to handle these inevitable ups and downs with equanimity and calm. So it's a training exercise for me. I mean, I'm seeing lots of amazing stuff, right? But in addition to all of that, it's a way for me to learn to improve my ability to accept life on life's terms. So we'll see if that lands for any of you. Thank you for listening.